All right, since we have enough, I'll call the meeting to order. I need a motion to approve February's minutes, please.
I had a question on February's minutes. Do we ever get a number? Terry asked about the tax ramifications if the city buys the Thermo Fisher building. Did we ever get a number for that?
Chance here, I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me. But I think it's around the high 70 to low 80,000 mark on the MSD side.
Okay. Thank you.
Apologies, I can get that nailed down and send it out to the group.
Chance. Any other comments? Get a motion to approve the minutes, please.
Make a motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And I don't see any public here. I don't see any public online, so there's not going to be any public comments. So I will turn it over to new business.
All right, Tom, I'll kick this off initially, and then I'll pass it over to Christina to kind of walk through the WDI's portion of this budget that the committee needs to weigh in on. So this is estimate number 2 coming in from the state on the sales tax side. So the number we are working with for the manager's budget for the MSD is in total $813,526. And the property tax allocation, MSD property tax allocation of that is $542,452. Interest earnings $10,000, and the sales tax allocation that comes into the CBD and or the MSD is $261,074. So out of that $813,526, the WPD patrol officer portion of that, personnel benefits and operating costs equals $199,330. What remains out of that is WDI's base from this current year, 562,692, and non-departmental, which are the fees paid to collect the property taxes. That number is kind of variable. As the tax increases, that number also increases, but the number we're using for FY24 budget's right at 5,000, and leaves a current unallocated of 46,566. And the number that we have normally worked with historically for budget reserve contingency, if needed, was 25,000. So if you take 25,000 out of that, that would add an additional 21,566 potentially into WDI's budget. So that was the number that I had sent over to Christina to kind of work with, was the 562,692 plus the 21,566, which I believe equals somewhere in the range of $584,258 for the MSD professional services section of this budget. So before Christina takes it on her proposal and kind of where she landed on the recommendations, the ambassador hours, and then some other things, I'd be happy to take any questions if anyone has them right now about those numbers I just went through, or we can just let Christina take it from here.
I have a question. In years past, the sales tax collected, is that something new that has added to the budget?
No, Bobby, I probably don't have the best answer for you, because I think this gets complicated in the finance world really quick. I think it's always been there. I just don't think you guys have ever seen it until last year. I think previously that sales tax allocation has just been added to the property tax and baked into that total that had been allocated to the MSD. But there is a sales tax portion that the city takes in that is allocated to the MSD that rolls into this budget.
I think you're right, Chance. I think we've had it all along, but we just haven't seen it pulled out. It's been given to us differently.
Yeah, I think up until last year, when we started talking about the PD allocation and the patrol, I think that number had just been kind of one whole number and it hadn't been broken down between the property and the sales tax allocation.
So will there be an increase in the MSD tax to property owners this year? I know they talked about it, but is that in the
No,
budget?
right now, Bobby, based on the rev. Bobby, yeah, Bobby, based on the anticipated funding from the current MSD tax, this budget would be balanced, and we, as of right now, we wouldn't be recommending any increase to the MSD tax. No.
Okay.
There was a sales tax on the last budget or last voting, and that was turned down by the public. That was the only one that was recommending an increase. That was turned down by the public.
All right, Chance, you want me to walk through the budget?
Take it from here, Christina, do it.
Okay.
Veronica, can you shift to the
Okay.
next slide?
All right.
Hey,
so
Chance, I got a quick question about that sales tax. Is that something that the city basically gives us and budgets, or like, is it a percentage of sales tax that, and is that something that's mandated by the state, or how is that? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Ray. I might go back some more layers for the next meeting.
Right.
I do know that sales tax allocation to counties and municipalities, sales tax comes into the state, and there's a wild formula that they
Right.
utilize that then goes back out to municipalities and counties. And within those counties and municipalities, how it's allocated, I'm not sure. I've asked the budget director, and I don't know that I've gotten a clear answer because I think it gets really convoluted really quick. But I can try to get a solid answer as to what that total is that comes into the city and how that downtown allocation is calculated. Let me try to get that. I don't have it right now, but I can certainly try to get it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of familiar with how it comes from the county to the city, but once it hits the city, is that something that the city makes a decision on how much, or is it a percentage of the amount of revenue that comes in? That's what I'm curious about.
Sure, I'll ask that question and try to get an answer.
Because that's a big chunk. I mean, that really kind of almost pays for the police there.
Yeah, I think that was something we brought up last year, but was outside of that MSD tax levy. The sales tax allocation nearly covered the police budget. But yeah, let me ask, and I'll try to answer that. I can send folks in writing and or get it to you guys in May.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. The fiscal year 24 budget proposal is based off of proposal B that I presented a couple meetings ago. This basically takes the 562,692 plus the 21,566 and puts it together and breaks it out into several components, one covering the personnel and the block by block budget. So if we're breaking it out so you can see individually how much we're paying for the operations manager, outreach, team lead, and all of our ambassadors. The second line item is physical appearance. We put an additional $2,000 in the landscaping and beautification, or I'm sorry, in a general fund that we can use for any of the below line items: landscaping, beautification, holiday decorations, weather events. We're not touching the alley way activation at this point until we can figure out what the city's going to do moving forward with that project. But then the new piece to this is the $15,000 that we put into the special projects line item. And this is to be used at the will of the advisory committee to perform one project or a few different projects. That all can be determined at another time, but that specific line item can cover a range of things. We've included $25,000 for the facade improvement grant program again. So the total physical appearance line item is $44,000. And then we reduced the WDI personnel from 50% to 30%. So that's where you see that adjustment made there between the $33,000 and the $20,000. Vision platform is again another $3,000 up on that. And we're getting ready to hire another employee to start that work, along with helping me with marketing the MSD as well as, do just an overall assistant. So total marketing is 23,000. And then this 84,000 is our 15% overhead fee. And I'll also note that the personnel item covers our 3% increase for employee retention. I'll take any questions if you have any.
Christina, what comprises the total overhead, the 87,638?
That's written into our contract, and that basically goes to WI to do administrative type duties for MSD.
15%.
Hey, Elizabeth, that's 15% of WDI's contract with 17% of that total annual year's allocation that covers profit, overhead, all that good stuff.
Thank you.
Insurance, everything.
Insurance, yeah.
Any other questions?
I guess one more on marketing personnel, 20,000. Is that an independent contractor and not a full-time employee?
That's an employee of WDI.
Who splits their time. So whatever they're using to do just MSD work, that's that part of that number.
Well, that's all for the budget. And if there's no more questions, I don't know if you want to take a look at the pie charts in comparison over year, but I can provide those next. Oh,
There you go.
Chance, this is Terry. So we're basing this upcoming year on the property tax revenue that's projected prior to the PPD acquisition, correct?
Yeah, Terry, you broke up a little bit. I think my connectivity's down. So the property tax number, the 542,452, has a half year of the PPD's tax taken out of that number, not a full year. So I think the way it runs is there'll be a half year tax because they run on calendar year, not city fiscal year. So half of that MSD allocation for the property has been taken out already. So that 542,452 is reflective of that.
And we aren't showing any increase.
And another
for
note on
the
that,
sales.
Terry.
Chance.
Correct. You guys there? Can you hear me?
Yep.
There's a delay.
Sorry. Correct. There's no outward projection for the sale of the city's properties in that fiscal year.
You mentioned before that a rough estimate of 70,000, 80,000 impact on PPD project being taken out? Is that what you
Yes,
said?
yes, sir.
Recording in progress.
But if we sell the remaining properties in the CBD, do we know what the increase, what the money back into the till is going to look like?
Hey, can you guys hear me? I switched to the phone.
Harry, you're assuming they wouldn't give it to a nonprofit.
Only one nonprofit.
Can hear you, Chance.
Now, I think the vision of the city is of the buildings that were to be sold, one is remaining the possession of the city right now is what we've been told. But has anybody, I mean, I know it's only a guesstimate because we don't know what they're going to be purchased for, the dollar amount. But using a CYA number, is there any way to estimate what we might see back in the till after the buildings in the CBD are sold to the general public?
Yeah, Terry, I don't have that number. I mean, downtown, it's going to be 305 Chestnut, the Harrelson building, which you guys are in, and then the two IT buildings along Chestnut and 4th Street. In terms of total value, I mean, I don't even know where to guesstimate. I know the city purchased the Harrelson for what, 13 million. So that's a good starting point. The 305 development property, what's the value there? Another 15 to 30 million. So I mean, it's a good chunk. And then you just got to levy the 5.6 whatever MSD piece off of that. So it's a decent size.
Chance, another question to that. Is the city going to assess because there's 6 of the 9 within the MSD, correct?
Correct.
So is the city going to assess the value of those buildings eventually before they?
Once they're sold and no longer publicly owned.
So, and we're not looking at just property tax. If those end up generating new businesses, there's the personal property tax for the businesses in addition.
Yeah, and you got to think, Terry, too. That's a good point. Future development, especially of the 305 Chestnut parcels. You're going to have the land and property value as it is. And if it's developed and built up, that number is only going to go up.
I think you guys have done a great job projecting when we are in a big unknown right now. So I'm comfortable with what's been proposed.
Hey, another note I should make to the group too. I've also been told that the MSD is going to be held harmless for the PPD reduction once we get a full year. So the number won't drop below this current year's base of 562,692. So it won't drop below that amount that we're working with as base when and if this sale does go through on the outlying years. So.
I was going to ask that. That's a good thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's good enough.
The PPD purchase makes development of the north side of downtown feasible. So, I mean, the amount of tax revenue that you're going to lose on that first year is going to be quintupled in the next 5.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Easily.
Well, plus if Thermo Fisher remains as a tenant in there, we're still collecting their business property tax.
Correct.
And they'll bring so many more. They're going to fill that space up at $15 to $20 a square foot
Correct.
in 3 years. I guarantee that thing's leased up because they're going to drop it out to nothing. It'll be great for all the downtown businesses, lunchtime users, you name it.
That's great.
City was talking in terms of financing the PPD.
Hey, could everybody speak up a little bit?
I was going to say I remember in an article that came out that the city's, one of the proposal for the acquisition of the PPD was an increase in sales tax, which could generate some blowback to us as well.
I was just in a meeting with Bill, Christine was too, and I think the other deal is the bond that has been recommended. Council is not behind that. They're asking the staff to go back and figure out a way to do without increasing the taxes. Isn't that what you understand? So that's better news.
Yeah, Terry, I think originally planned, right now it's 1.5 cent property tax increase, not sales tax. Just make that clarification. And that still has to be voted on by council. And I think there's still some work to be done to make this go through, but on the table initially was 1.5 cent sales tax. No, sorry, I'm messing up. 1.5 cent property tax, sorry.
So that thing's not going to the LGC on the second,
They're still gonna go, he said.
even without approval of council?
No, May, they're going to council, no, they're going to council before they go to LGC. That's what this is what Bill said about an hour ago. Is that your understanding, Chance?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I just know right now on the table is the 1.5 cent property tax increase. And that could change. I don't know. You might have more information than I do, Terry. But on the table right now is the 1.5 cent property tax. And obviously that could change pre-LGC and would have to get approved or revised by council in this budget session. So.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
So this is the budget in a nutshell. This was what we were looking at in fiscal year 22. During this year, we added the street outreach program in the later portion of the year. So that would be included in the clean and safe portion of the budget. If you go to the next slide, Veronica. This is where we're at this year. And I broke out the FIG grants as part of the fiscal appearance, but we do have a section broken out now for the street outreach at 14%, and then clean and safe at 29% of the budget. And then again, the 15% overhead fee. And then for next fiscal year, the breakdown looks like this. So we're looking at a total for all the ambassadors who are walking on the streets, not team lead. You're looking at 33% of the budget. Operations managers, 15%. Team lead is 10, and street outreach is at 14%. And then within the physical appearance at 7.5%, you have the facade improvement grant program and that special line item now for the special projects at 15,000. So just a overhead view of what the budget looks like. And that's all. If there's any questions. Take them.
All right. And hearing none, do we want to move to the next or get a motion on approving this proposal?
Hey, Tom, I think we've hit a last point to take a motion and approve. We need some action from the committee on this one.
Need a motion to approve WDI's.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thanks, guys.
Good job, Christine.
Thank you.
Great job, Christina. All right, on to reports.
I think I'm up.
Can't see who just said that, so yes, I think you're right.
Yeah, WPD. So
Thank you, sir.
good afternoon. Just some quick stats from last month. We wrote 15 citations in downtown district, 11 being alcohol related, 4 are for misdemeanor possession, narcotics. We also had 3 DWI arrests last month down here. And we made 4 arrests under the 3rd Street Bridge. One of the issues we were having was the people that were living on our 3rd Street kind of ventured on to the 4th Street Bridge. We were able to get up with DOT. They came down and posted signs. So they are now well aware and should not be under there as well. Our guys are continually to go down there a couple times a day to check, make sure and run them off. That's pretty much it for the stats. Kind of want to throw a bone to the MSD and the ambassadors group. They played a humongous role in assisting with the arrest of the homicide suspect from last week at the Godwin Field. That individual we had a lead on from our detective division, and he basically was a couch surfer and liked to visit and partake in some things downtown. And I called Jack and his team Thursday afternoon. By 9:45 Friday morning, Jack had eyes on him, was able to lead us directly to him with no issues. So that was a humongous, that relationship is well worth its money. So we'd like to applaud his efforts. As for Azalea Festival, was pretty, it was real busy down here, obviously. We only had 3 arrests, which I think is, that's a win. And 2 of them were just probation violations. Some of our regulars that we were able to identify and get them out of here because we knew they had warrants. And 1, we did make 1 on-view arrest for an assault on a law enforcement officer. But other than that, it was pretty, it was a good weekend.
No questions? Thank you, sir. Great job all the way around.
Thank you.
Turn it over to WDI.
So since Deb Hayes has passed, we have reorganized or organized again. And we have elected Tom as chair of WDI. We've also formulated a new downtown development committee that was just approved last night. McKay Siegel is the chair of the Downtown Development Committee, and we have a number of other downtown stakeholders that will be notified soon of the committee's formation, and will begin meetings in the coming months. I would also like to welcome Lawrence Nadu, who is our WDI representative on the MSD. So this is his first meeting. So he is also chair of our Facade Improvement Grants Committee. So it's a good fit that he's here with us today and moving forward. The Azalea Festival was a bright spot for the MSD team. They had a lot of hospitality contacts, and everything was kept clean. We did a lot of hard work prior to just trying to reach out the alleyways and keep the flower beds looking nice with the city in coordination. Just trying to prep the city overall for the Azalea Festival. So we did get lots of hospitality contacts. So we continue to grow in our key statistics, and we look forward to kind of reviewing the festival numbers this year. And then we are looking at the ongoing modernization of our MSD reports. And if you notice, the MSD report looked a little bit differently. If there's any figures or something that you're interested in seeing, or facts that I need to pull out, I'm always willing to change the report as it goes along. But historically, this is what we've been reporting on. It's just in a different format, and shows you in a little bit more detail with graphs and whatnot. I think that's pretty much it for us. Oh, actually, one more. We did receive the Bring It Downtown funding from the city. So we will begin developing the downtown parking map that will go online on the WDI website in just a few short weeks. And I hope to have that done at least, it's going to take about 9 weeks to start. So if we start this month, it'll be probably mid to late summer before it's complete.
Great. Thank you, Christina. And on to Chance.
May I ask a question?
Absolutely. So I'm sorry.
No. Downtown parking map. That's exciting. Is it a smart map? I know when I visit big cities, you can use an app like Spot Hero, and it can tell you in real time where a public garage spot is open.
Oh, no, this is a map. It's modeled after what downtownhouston.org/map is looking like. Basically, it's a map where you can go in and you can click on a parking deck, and it'll give you all the information, the fees and whatnot. And then you can illuminate what amenities are around that parking deck. And then it's going to be connected to a revolutionary app called Google API, where you can click it and then it'll show you on your phone a real-time view of the streets. So you could click on your destination from the parking deck and walk around and get an actual like yellow brick road type following all the way to your destination. So it'll help people wayfind across the district.
Because people don't know there's public parking really at the embassy or River Place. But just imagine if it could tell you where that spot is open in that deck.
Can you send me?
Yeah,
Hey,
Spot
look-
Hero. Yeah.
Spot Hero?
Elizabeth Chance here. I think what Christina WDI are doing with the Bring It Downtown could be one piece of it. We are working on tying in something like you said with Spot Hero and an outward facing occupancy for the off street, River Place, 2nd Street, Market Street, Convention Center, PPD as well if it comes to fruition. Something we are working on. We've got a new contract coming with a potentially new parking operator. So it's something we are working on. And if we can get that put together, it's probably something we might be able to tie into the Bring It Downtown piece of it too.
Any other questions? And then on to you, Chance.
All right, thanks, Tom. Just a reminder for the committee on the strategic plan ideas and kind of a work plan for the MSD for the next few years. I believe to date, we've heard from Nancy, Bill, Chris, and McKay, I believe is all we've gotten written correspondence from. I'm looking to compile that, bring that back to the committee next month. So there's still a little bit of time to send me some ideas. So just a reminder to send that stuff over to me. Talked about a little bit PPD update. As of right now, LGC is the next big step, currently scheduled for, I believe, May the 1st. From that point, any operational items would have to be approved from council in the current city manager's budget with a potential closing date of early to mid July. I think come May 1st, we'll have a clear or not so clear path forward once the LGC weighs in on this. For the good of the group, there's an NCDOT resurfacing project that's coming, I believe, late April, early May. That resurfacing is going to be 3rd Street South from Market to, I believe, Dawson, and Market Street East from 3rd Street up to say 28th, somewhere around the Midtown area. So look for mobilization there in the next few weeks. And obviously there will be some parking and traffic impacts coming to pieces of the greater downtown area and outward there. Parking related, we're about to wrap up the 2nd Street rehab project. And just a reminder to the group, put about $2.3 million into there. Lots of waterproofing, lots of concrete repair, rebuilt the stairwell. And we're about to polish this thing off with brand new LED lighting at the 2nd Street parking deck. That's it on the city side.
Great, thank you, Chance. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor, get up.
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Tom.